I'm Jason Klom, and this is the Comedy on Vinyl podcast.
It's getting deeper.
This here is the coldest part of the Yukon I ever been in here. It's a terrible snowstorm.
It certainly is.
George Jinglebirds.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because in this here ice field like this, there ain't no trees or nothing to slow down that darn wind. Darn wind.
Sure is cold up here, I tell you.
Say that again.
You're getting a cold yourself, I believe, there.
No, just a little post-nasal drip.
Yeah. Oh, gee. Hey, what's that?
Don't applause. That ain't applause. What's that flying through there?
It's flying through the snowstorm. It was a penguin.
A penguin?
I swear, but it must be flying south for the winter, I guess.
How you like that? See a lot of strange sights up here. Well, if we're gonna find open water, Sam, we better get this here damn ding-ding-dang-dong sled moving again. Does you hear that?
Yeah, I guess we better get the dog. Darn dog. Get that dog down.
Yeah, I don't know.
On the harness.
I think you're right. We gotta get a new set of sleds one of these days.
It's not fair us having to be down here. We ought to be back up on the sled.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Hey everybody, Jason Klom, Comedy on Vinyl. That's not a surprise to you. You subscribed or downloaded actively, so you know who I am and what this is. You probably didn't know how to pronounce my last name. That's fair. I know, I have friends who don't know how to do it. But this episode is kind of special. It's another of the family album series, but it's different in that for the first time we are covering these two artists who made two albums that were not technically professionals. In today's world, they would be allowed to consider themselves professionals, but what they did in the 60s was vanity presses. So they paid for their own. We go into the details of which of them paid for it and had more of the ideas behind it. But their names are Lawrence T. Dawson Jr. and Lemuel D. Harrell. The story starts where I went to Record Surplus here in Los Angeles, which is my favorite record shop. I do recommend it highly. I love Atomic Records here in Burbank, but there's a bigger selection at Record Surplus. And they also have the quote-unquote attic where you can get stuff sometimes for $1.50. Not $1.50, but $1.50. That was a comma in there. And I like to get a lot of records there, and I picked up something in the comedy section labeled Mr. Silver Spitzd Dawson, and it's a dog in a suit. It's like a modern day, like something you might find on a meme. It's a Spitz, a dog in a suit. And is he holding a cigar? He might be holding a cigar. He's got a cigar in some of the other photos. But it's a photoshopped, an actual photoshopped thing from the time. And I had to know what the hell this was, and didn't realize until later that this album and the album that follows it, which I've also since listened to, which is called Think Fuzzy. Both these albums are vanity presses, but they're in the Enjoy the Experience book, which is highly recommended if you're interested in stuff that's vanity and private presses. Vanity press is one of those terms that's an awful lot like novelty to me. It is done a lot of times by amateurs, but if you sell a few, you've made money doing your thing. So you're a professional, so you're not getting it through a label, whatever. So these guys are doing it in the 60s, when today they do it on the internet if they want it. And Lawrence is still with us. Lemuel D. Harrell, or Lem, is not still with us, but I had the opportunity to speak with his wife, Belle. Everybody was kind enough to speak with me, and I don't know, it was a lot of fun speaking to these folks about these albums that did mean something to them. And I don't want to give too much of it up, but long story short, there's some things in there, if you know anything about me and my own comedy and my own history and things that have happened in this last year, there's a few things in there that kind of affected me in a very positive way. And there's like a minor postscript that I want to add to the end of this, because that's how a postscript goes at the end. But I'd like you to listen to the two interviews, and then I'll just tack that onto the end. And if you're interested, keep listening. That's enough for me, but I do hope you enjoy listening to these quote-unquote amateurs, who I consider fellow professionals who are just busting their butts. And this album, I mean, these albums are now 50 plus years old. You can find them pretty easily on eBay. You can fully expect these, they're not going to be, they weren't life-changing comedy records at the time, but that's not really the point. We're talking about two guys who wanted to make some stuff, made it, released it themselves, and that's 100% the ethos of most artists that you're probably a fan of today, unless they're giant, platinum-selling artists. So here it is, another episode of Family Albums. This is Lemuel D. Harrell and Lawrence T. Dawson Jr., creators of Mr. Silver Spitzd Dawson. Hi, everybody. Jason Klom with the Comedy on Vinyl podcast. This week, we have a special episode. Live on the phone with me is Lawrence T. Dawson Jr. He's in Virginia, and the reason I'm speaking with him this week is I discovered an album he did with his friend, Mr. Harrell, and we'll talk about that a little bit in detail. And then I actually have their second album, and they're both independently pressed in the 60s. And Mr. Dawson, thank you so much for talking with me today.
Oh, you're welcome.
So what? Okay, so I found one of these albums in one of my favorite shops here in Los Angeles, and I will admit it was the cover with a dog's a dog's face on a person's body that made me think, what in the heck did I just find? So I want to know what got you and your friends started.
Well, I used to go to his house. He had a tape recorder then, and we just started making those various programs, and we decided to put one on record to see how it would sell, and it did all right.
And his name, I apologize, I didn't say his name, Lemuel D. Harrell.
Lemuel D. Harrell, yeah.
Yes, sir. And how did you know each other?
Well, we met in school. We used to go to the same school in Madison Heights, Virginia.
So is this going back to high school or elementary school?
This was in high school, I believe.
And so you two would just goof around, and one of you, I'm assuming one of the two of you owned what kind of equipment did you use to record this?
Well, he had a wire recorder, and I don't know if you even remember what a wire recorder is.
I've seen them. I've never gotten to use one. I've wanted to record on one for a long time.
Yeah, and then we got a tape recorder later on. Mm-hmm. And we did the records from the tape recorder, and had them put onto the records. I don't even remember myself how he did it exactly. I think he didn't put it on the records, had it put on the records. Mm-hmm. But that's so long ago, even I don't remember anymore.
So this, I mean, the first album you released it, I think, in 1964. So how old would you have been then?
In 64, I would have been, I was born in 32. What would that be?
Okay, so you would have been 32 when you did it. Were you doing it before then?
Oh, yeah, we did a lot of it before then. Mm-hmm. This is the only one we put on a record. Mm-hmm. And so.
Right.
One of the, I think we did two altogether, but
you did two. I've got them both right here. Yeah. What's interesting, so to give people kind of a taste of what it is, I'll just kind of explain. It's the two of you doing just the silliest voices on the planet and just entertaining each other for about 30 minutes, which I think is great.
Yeah, that's about what it amounted to. Yeah.
Did either of you do theater or anything like this as kids, or is this just like
Oh, no. We never did anything. No, we never did anything on stage or anything like that. This is strictly at home for fun. And we never even thought of even selling anything, but Lim did. Uh-huh. He wanted to try it. I said, well, we could try Lim. I don't think anybody's going to buy it, but we did fairly well. Yeah. We didn't become millionaires or anything, but... Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's
more than paid for itself.
Oh, that's good. That's wonderful. I mean, especially with something that they usually call a vanity press, something that you put out yourself. So you created your own label, Dog Bite Records.
Right.
So, well, then now I'm curious. So obviously it's just the two of you messing around, and I say just, that's not to diminish it. I think it's fun to listen to two friends just enjoying each other's company and making each other laugh. I mean, that's the funniest thing. Is if people nowadays, the best thing to compare this to is if you listen to a podcast of two people who are just improvising together and just can't stop laughing. That's what this is. That's what this is on two records.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. We ad-libbed everything. I don't remember whether we ever put it down in paper when we did it with records or not. That's so long ago I don't even remember. But mainly everything started out, we just ad-libbed as we went along.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember whether we made it into a script when we did the record or not. That's been so long ago, I honestly don't remember.
Yeah, well, what's so funny is there's so many notes on the back of these that say, that it mentions a script, but that the script might have been made after the two of you ad-libbed it, just so you could copyright all the words. Which, that's smart.
Yeah, we made that just to copyright it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And okay, so let's and through both of these albums, the one recurring character or one recurring actor is Mr. Silver Spitzd Dawson. Do you want to explain who that is?
He was a real dog.
Uh-huh.
I don't think he actually talked, but he tried to from time to time. And that was Silver. He was an ornery cuss. He was mean as the devil.
Uh-huh.
He loved to fight. He and Mickey, that was a dog that belonged to him. They would go out and fight other dogs, and then they'd come back and start fighting among themselves. Just more or less for fun, I think.
And
they didn't mean to hurt each other.
Was this your dog or your friend or Mr. Harrell's dog?
Well, Silver was my dog.
Where did the idea come from deciding to do a voice and saying that it was your dog doing the voice? This is what I'm curious about.
Well, we did that for years, just on tape, just for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And Silver was always the hero, or the villain, or whatever you want to call him.
Mm-hmm.
And I did the voice of Silver on the records.
Yeah.
Because he demanded too much money to do it himself. So that's the way that began.
Now I'm getting the impression that now is Mr. Harrell still with us or no?
No, he died 5 or 6 years ago. He died some time ago.
Okay,
I can't give you the exact date because I don't even remember it myself. It was a bad thing.
Of course, and I'm
your best friend dies.
Of course, no, that's I'm very sorry about that.
Oh yeah.
I like though that it's kind of nice that we've got two records here that even if they weren't anything else are these nice two little timestamps of these two people's friendship, which I love. That these both exist, and that both your pictures are together on the second album. Actually, the two of you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which of the two of you is wearing glasses? That'll tell me which one you are.
Well, I'm wearing them now, but then just Lim wore glasses.
That was Lim. Okay, so all right. So now I know who is who.
Yeah, the skinny-looking guy.
Oh, these are great. I love very much listening to you two enjoying each other's company. But I'm curious, of the two of you, was he the one who was kind of taking everything and running with it? So you two would record it, and he would just say, "Okay, we're gonna put out a record. Was he the one paying for it?" I'm just curious about the technical stuff because when you do this stuff on your own in the '60s at the height of comedy records, I don't know that that's easy.
No, it wasn't easy, but I let him more or less take care of that. I didn't have much to do with it.
Mm-hmm. Do you know
technically? Except I did the covers. I drew the covers and so forth.
I wanted to talk about that. So the first cover is like a photo composition, and the second one has a bunch of really beautiful art on the cover with some photos. That's all you?
Yeah, that's me.
Those are beautiful. Do you still draw?
Not much anymore.
No?
Yeah, but I drew then.
Yeah.
Pretty well. Well, I was an artist. That was my occupation.
That's what I was wondering. Okay.
Yeah, I was an artist for many, many years. And every time I tried to quit being an artist, I'd come in, "You don't want to quit." I said, "Yeah." And I said, "No, come here. This guy would write to that. Here's what you're making now." And I said, "Yeah." He said, "You stay with us." And he wrote something else down. I said, "Well, okay. I'll stay a little while longer."
So
and the first thing you knew, it was time to retire.
Right.
Yeah, that was in New York.
That was in New York.
I worked for Foot Locker and Lady Foot Locker.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my main jobs is they would send me pictures of guys they were going to honor. And I'd do a caricature of the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd go to these dinners, and everybody come around and sign around the picture I get of him, and he would take it home with him.
Wow. So you lived in New York at the time?
Oh, yeah, I lived in New York most of my life.
Okay.
No, most of my adult life. I lived a great deal of time in New York. I went back to New York in '55. Like you said, I went up there, and then I was drafted. Went to the Army for a bit.
Uh-huh.
And guess what I did? I drew pictures and
Really?
put on a paper in the Army. And after I got back, I went to New York and stayed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd come down here and do the stuff with Lim. I don't believe he ever came. We may have come to New York a couple of times, but we did all the stuff down here in Lynchburg or Madison Heights.
So these were all things that you did on the chances you got to get together down in Virginia.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
I don't believe he ever came to New York, as I recall. I don't recall him ever coming to New York, but I can't swear he didn't. He may have come a couple of times.
Uh-huh.
That was so long ago, my memory is beginning to fail me.
Hey, you know what? You got enough of a memory to tell me a pretty wonderful story. I'm loving all this already. Here's the problem. I have so much that I want to ask you, and it's all kind of swirling around in my brain a bit because I didn't know you were an artist. Let's do this. Tell me a little bit about Lem, so I know more about him, and then you can give me some more details about your life. But I'm curious who Lem was, why he stayed in Virginia, what he did for a living.
He programmed computers at the Pentagon.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
And then he just quit, invested his money, and lived on that for the rest of his life with Belle Harrell. She was a lovely girl who is still alive. And that was about it.
That's amazing. Because here's the thing. I mean, as the kind of guy I am, I'm a bit of what we like to call a nerd. You're allowed to call yourself a nerd now and be proud of it.
I can be proud of it now. Huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
That used to be an insult.
I know. Yeah, people get excited about it now.
Yeah, things do change.
And growing up, I loved computers, and a couple of years ago, I wrote a book that was a fake history of computers in the internet because I'm interested in the real history. And whenever I find out that somebody was in any way involved with the early days of what we would now call modern computing, I'm kind of excited. So that's what he did for a living. And so it sounds like, well, I don't want to make too many assumptions, but I know from experience, and I know other people who, when you've got artistic ambitions, even if you don't have necessarily artistic experience, and you're like, okay, I'm going to put something out, you just want to get it out there. And I think that's pretty forward thinking for anybody with an artistic spirit in 1965. Be like, screw it. Let's just do it and make the thing. And if people want to buy it, they'll buy it.
Yeah, that's the way it worked.
That's so great. You know what's fun too is I found a couple advertisements even where I'm assuming it was him bought an ad in the Village Voice newspaper, a couple other ads just to say, hey, the only way you can buy this is send us a check, send us your money to whatever the PO box was, and so that's the only way you could buy it. Yeah,
that's the only way you could buy it, right? And I let them take care of that. He took care of the business part of it. I just took care of the genius part.
Did you do all the hand lettering on these too? I'm assuming.
Huh?
Is all this hand lettering yours too? Wow.
I was an artist. That's what I did in New York.
Right. Yeah, but it's
Believe
just.
It or not,
it's just so beautiful, and I was trying to figure out. Is this an exist? Some of these look like they might be fonts that you could easily find. Is any of this yours, like your original handwriting type style, like your original style? I'm curious.
I don't know if you'd call it my style, but of course, when I write checks or something, I sign them. I don't print them. So.
Right.
But I have terrible handwriting.
Okay.
Printing I can do. Handwriting, no. But as I get older, my handwriting is getting worse and worse.
Mm-hmm. How about your art, though? Are you still doing art every once in a while?
No, I haven't done any real art for a long time.
No.
After 40 or 50 years of it, I'd done just about enough.
So let's
know what I mean.
I do. Do you let's talk. Let's go back to your history. So when did you start doing art professionally? And what were the different places you went to do art?
I wanted to be an artist, but I wanted to be a fine artist. I went to the New York Phoenix School of Design and studied art there. But mainly because I could see naked women and get go for real models. I couldn't afford to be. And New York Phoenix. He's dead now. Phoenix was the guy's name. You're probably wondering, was it in Phoenix?
Mm-hmm.
No, Mr. Phoenix was the guy's name that ran the art school.
Okay.
It's called the New York Phoenix School of Design, Art and Design. That's where I learned a lot of artwork. I was drawing way before then, but, I wanted to be more professional about it.
Right. So did you get drafted right after you graduated?
Yeah, well, I was drafted. Believe me, I didn't join.
Right.
Yeah, I was drafted, and went there. But I had fun in the Army, too, so I got some lovely little Japanese musumes, as young girls. And I was amazed at how friendly they were, because they'd been lied to about what we were going to do if they lost to the Americans, and we didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
They realized they had been lied to, so they were all very friendly, very nice people.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Japanese.
So you were over there during Korean War?
Yeah, the Korean War was going on. But I spent time in Japan rather than going to Korea. Thank goodness.
Okay, yeah, of course. No, that's
And,
not bad.
My brother went to Korea. He was in the Army. He was drafted in the Army. And I had a lot of fun in Japan. And the Japanese were so friendly. They realized a lot of them, they had been lied to by their government. If you lose, the Americans are going to do this and that and that. And we didn't. And they realized that they had been lied to.
Right. Yeah,
so
that's...
we would, we treated them okay, and they appreciated it.
I would imagine. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. So did you find any kind of, like you said, you got drafted in, so did you find any kind of mutual sort of, we both have to deal with governments who aren't always giving us the truth at every point? Were you doing art from the very beginning in the military, or when did that start?
Well, I had been doing it a long time before the military, but I did that in the military, believe it or not. That's...
Now, how did they know you? What kind of art did they have you doing?
I did caricatures of people. They would come in, generals and so forth would come in on, what do they call them? They're temporarily out of the war, to recuperate and so forth. Mm-hmm. And they would pose, and I'd do caricatures of them and sign it. Everybody would sign all around it and give it to them. Mm-hmm. And I did it for some Japanese people, too, because I wanted to.
Right.
And I had a great old time in Japan.
I had no idea. I didn't have any idea that the military would ever just set aside some time to have one of their soldiers sit down and draw caricatures of military officials. That's crazy.
That's what I did. I ran a newspaper.
Yeah.
Too.
Okay.
And for the Army. And I ran the newspaper. I did most of the writing, almost all of the writing, in fact, and all of the drawing that went into it.
Wow.
And that's what I did.
What was the name of that paper?
It was Stars and Stripes.
Oh, it was for Stars and Stripes. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
so
Stars and Stripes.
Of course. Yeah. Well, everybody knows that one.
He knows better than I do. I should let him talk to you.
Let's say thanks to Wayne, because you dedicated the second album to him too, which I think is great. His name is on there, so is Belle's. So those are the two names that we see on the back.
Belle, yeah. Mm-hmm. I'll tell him. He wants to thank you, Wayne. And he said, "You're welcome." You see what a tough time I had during the war. They heard I was coming, and they gave up. That's when the thing ended in Korea, where we were fighting at the time. Mm-hmm. That's what I used to say. They heard I was coming, the cowards quit. That was probably not the real reason, though. I want to be truthful to you. With you.
So you're writing for Stars and Stripes. You're drawing pictures for Stars and Stripes.
Right.
And then, so when out of the military, I'm assuming you're only in the military for a short time. That's the way it's sounding. Is that correct?
Yeah. No, I didn't re-up in the military. No. Although I did extend. I didn't re-up, but they let me extend. I said, I'm not going to re-up. They said, well, we need you. Could you extend? And I said, well, he said, you get more pay. Okay, I extended.
Yeah, right. Of course. Well, I mean, if you're not fighting and you're still getting to draw, that's not so bad.
No, I was doing pretty much what he did in civilian life when I got back.
So let's talk about that. What happened when you got back? What was your first thing you did when you got back?
Well, in those days, companies, when they had good employees, they wanted to keep them.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked for a paper there, and they, they'd bring people in and give them big dinners, and I'd go and, draw and maybe do a card show them, and everybody would sign all around that. And that's what I did for a living. How's that?
So you would go to events that the newspaper was covering, and you draw the people that were there, and they'd sign it?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
I love
Everything in my life has been crazy.
You don't see that today. That's just that's
No, you don't.
That's fascinating. Do you have any of that old art sitting around? Do you hold on to any of that stuff?
No. Only what you've got is probably about all I've got left. You say you have the 2 albums?
I do. Yep.
That's probably about all I've got left of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, believe me, after a while, you won't believe this, but you can get sick and tired of drawing and painting.
Yeah.
When you do it for as many years as I did it, and in the Army even.
Yeah.
You can get a little weary after a while. So I quit when I was around 70, and then I came back home. I stayed in New York a while, but I said, well, I better go home while I'm still alive. So I came back here, now I'm living here.
Do you know when you started doing these recordings together, and do any of those recordings exist anymore?
I don't know whether they do or not.
So you would come down every once in a while, and would Lem say, "Hey, I've got the recorder. You wanna? Whose idea was it? I'm just curious. Like, what were you having a drink that night, and somebody says, "Let's break out the recorder"? How'd it go?
No, every time I came to Lem, we did stupid recordings, silly recordings.
So every time.
Yeah, every time I was home, I would go to Lem and we'd do these recordings.
Yeah.
And I really don't remember whose idea it was to bring out the album. It was probably Lem's idea.
Mm-hmm.
I was never all that interested in money, which sounds insane right there, right? But he more or less took care of all that. Except I would do, I did the recordings and I did the artwork on the album.
Yeah.
Otherwise, other than that, I more or less left that all up to him.
What do you think his interest was in releasing an album in the first place? Why do you think he wanted to do that?
I think he just wanted to I always felt he wanted to get even with everybody. Listen to this, that'll show him. But I think he just wanted to see if they would sell.
Yeah.
And I left that all up to him. We split the money, 50-50, and that was it.
I said this before, but I mean the design of these is really great because a lot of independent records, a lot of smaller records don't always look good. And I grabbed the first one because it looks crazy. I'll admit that. I saw that and I'm like, what the hell am I looking at? This is crazy. So I had to buy it based off of that. I will say that's why I bought it.
Oh, I see. Well,
yeah,
I appreciate that.
I love it. And then when I saw that the second one had some art on it, I'm like, wait a minute, is this clip art or did one? And then I saw your name on it, and I'm like, oh my God, it's beautiful. It really is beautiful. I wish the original of this existed because I would.
Oh, thank you. Well, if I had the original, I'd be glad to send you. But unfortunately, that's long gone.
Sure, I understand.
But I did all the drawings and stuff you see. I did. As far as I know, Lem couldn't draw. He could write well, but he couldn't draw.
Mm-hmm. And so
as far as I know.
You released the first one in '64 and the second one in 1966.
Yeah.
They're not easy to find necessarily. You have to do a little hunting. Although I got the second one for a reasonable price online. I will say that they're not impossible to find.
You got it online?
Yeah, I bought the second one online after I found out there was a second one.
Oh my goodness!
Well, and also I don't know if you know this. There's a book from 2 or 3 years ago called "Enjoy the Experience," and it's written by a bunch of collectors who collect specifically independently produced or vanity press albums. And a lot of it throughout the book is just covers. They're saying, look at this cover, isn't it interesting? And they move on. It's mostly what it is. They're like, it's people talking about them collecting records like the way I do. And I didn't know this until after I bought this, but both of these album covers show up in that book. So
they are both in that book?
yeah, they're very small. They're small photos, but somebody had these in their collection and was like, people have to see this. So it's in a book called Enjoy the Experience. So yeah, your book, your album covers both show up in it.
My goodness gracious, I wish Lim knew this. I wish he was still alive. I'd like to tell him.
You know what I mean? But it's another little tribute to the fact that there's there's a lasting impression you've made. And one of the things I talk about on this show a lot is, it's the experience of buying an album and listening to an album is holding it. You've got this art to stare at while you're listening to whatever crazy thing, especially if it's comedy, whatever crazy thing is coming over your earphones or your speakers. And this adds to it. It does. I mean, the second one is great because you've gone out of your way to draw Silver Spitzd Dawson in a coat with a cigar.
Silver, that's it. Silver smoked a cigar. Yeah.
Now, all right, so how deep did the mythology of Silver go? How much of a character did you create for him in your head?
Well, he was just pretty much the whole show, practically.
Mm-hmm.
He knocked everybody around. He was a Spitz. You know how Spitzes are. He was the main character, always. Lim and I did all the voices, by the way.
Uh-huh.
I did Silver. And Lim did some voices. Carl Phillips. I think I did Carl Phillips, too. He was a reporter on the tapes we did.
How long did these recording sessions go?
Oh, you mean through the years?
Mm-hmm.
Just for fun? You don't mean professionally, right?
Right.
Oh, my gosh. That was 30 or 40 years, probably.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a long time.
That's amazing.
But what amazes me is how fast those years passed.
Of course.
And all of a sudden, I wake up and you know what? I'm an old man. I never expected to be an old man.
How long were you recording for each session then? When you would sit down, how much time would you sit? How much tape would you eat up just messing around?
Oh, my Lord. We'd do sometimes, and we erased a lot of them that we did do.
Uh-huh.
But we'd sometimes make 3 or 4, 5, 6 hours a day.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, a lot.
This was you guys getting together. Instead of getting together over drinks or over coffee or having a meal together, you guys would sit down for 6 hours with a tape recorder. And
Pepsi Cola.
And Pepsi Cola. Okay, that's your drink of choice.
Cola, yeah.
Okay.
Right.
That's amazing to me. I just that's not something you find that often. Here's the thing.
No.
The reason why I'm struggling for words is that this is very much the way my best friend and I relate. And now I will tell you, we don't have the 6-hour stamina you two guys had. I will tell you, that is impressive. My hat is off to you. My next drink I have will be to you for that. But
thank you.
Of course. But it is something my best friend and I share. He lives in Boise, Idaho. I live here in Los Angeles. And it's something we do, it's kind of how we express our friendship, is making comedy albums together.
Oh, you live in Los Angeles?
Yeah, I live in Los Angeles now. I'm from upstate New York originally, I
didn't know you. Oh, my goodness gracious.
Yeah, and I've
somebody in Los Angeles, huh?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you wouldn't know it from looking at where I live, but that's okay. Can't always make a living in art. Although, I look up to you for that too. That's admirable. Did you?
Well, it's not. It's not many people who can make a living doing what they love best.
Right. Did you? So, is that how you felt though? Because I know you say you try to get out of it, but did you love it while you were doing it, the art?
Well, I loved it. Yeah, while I was doing it, I loved doing it. But after a while, I just like anything. No matter how much you love it, after a while, you just get that I've done enough of this.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to retire.
When's the last time you guys did a recording together?
Oh my goodness, that was years and years and years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Our voices began to go, after a while. And, as you get older, I don't even know if I could do any of those voices anymore.
I was gonna ask you if you could do Silver.
Oh, my Lord. Wait a minute. Hold on just a second. I'll try it, and I'll see if I can do it high-pitched voice anymore. Let me see, Doctor. Oh, not really. I can't do it anymore. But it was something like that.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Even my vocal cords are going. That's for depression.
It's so funny too to listen to these albums. It's just the two of you enjoying it so much that you'll talk on top of each other. You keep interrupting each other.
Oh yeah. We enjoy. Well, we did it just for fun.
Yeah.
We never intended to make any money out of it.
Sure.
But we did. We made a pretty good amount out of it eventually.
That's great.
Not unintentionally.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we were doing it for money, I know this may sound silly, but I think if we were doing it for money, they wouldn't have been as good as they were.
That makes sense.
If you know what I mean.
I do. No, I absolutely do. And the joy of it, like I said, is listening to the two of you entertaining each other, and now knowing how much time you spent doing it together, it means something. Yeah. It means something more, at least to myself. There's a lot of value to that.
And if you have a best friend, I hope he lives a long, long time, and I hope you do too.
Well, I'll take that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I hope you both live a long time. But when your best friend dies, it's tough. It really is tough.
Not easy.
No, not easy.
Not easy.
Well, when anybody you like dies, it's tough, bad enough. But when your best friend goes, that's even worse. It's almost like losing a parent.
Right. What about
or a brother?
When's the last time you listened to any of these to either of these albums? Have you listened to them in a long time?
Oh no, because now I don't know. It's I think it might depress me now.
Yeah. I can see that.
You can understand. You can understand that.
I can.
Yeah.
People deal in different ways. I recently lost a friend, and because I have so much footage of him, I can sit around and watch it and not get sad. But that's only because I hadn't seen him in so long. But I can. What you're talking about also makes perfect sense to me. If
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know exactly what I mean then.
I do.
Yeah. In fact, it's been a lot of fun talking to you. I'm glad you called.
Oh, well, this has been a damn delight. I could talk to you for at least 6 hours.
Well,
I am not going to commit you to that. That would be the worst thing to do to you. You're a busy man. You got a life to lead. I love listening to these. I wish I were down the street. Because I want to have you sign these. So if I'm ever in Virginia, I'm going to find a way to get you to sign these because.
I'm going to keep this. Your name is Jason.
That's right, Jason Klom.
Klom.
Yes, sir.
Klamm, right?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
I'll hang on to this. You do drop by.
I would love to. Oh man.
I doubt we'll probably both be dead of old age by the time you make it.
I
do all this way. Drop by.
I wish looking at these albums. I wish I got there's. I don't know. I'm having trouble speaking right now. But all I'm saying is I wish I could have you make album art for me. I will just say that these, especially the second one, I want people to check out. I'll try and take a good picture of this and put it online so people can see it because I want them to see your art. I do like that the cover. So there is one bit on the second album that's called "Computer Go Home," and it is about a talking computer. That is part of it.
Yeah.
So I have to assume that comes from Lem's experience. And was he frustrated with computers? What do you think?
Well, he liked it, but like everything else, it can be frustrating at times too.
Mm-hmm.
So he seldom talked about the job.
Okay.
But I got the feeling he was doing it for money.
Okay. Yeah.
And anytime you're doing something just for money, you can't enjoy it as much.
I am very happy that I can it means something to me that I can personally have these two albums in my collection, and that they have, that they are a snapshot of two people's friendship. Did either of you ever look at comedy as an art or a thing that you wanted to do, or was it always just going to be we're just going to mess around?
What do you mean? You mean drawing or just...
like the comedy itself. Do you think Lem ever would have, if he could have, would he have quit his job and done comedy, or is that not something that would ever been in the cards for him?
Oh, I think we both would have if we could have done comedy. But, there's not much demand for that. And, I don't know how I would have done it in front of an audience anyway.
No.
It may have been a whole different thing. then it probably gets to be work. What we would have done would have to have been more for radio than television anyway.
Sure. No, that makes sense. Well, I mean, there are a lot of guys who got their start that way. Bob and Ray, you got a lot of really great early teams like that. Well, actually, normally I ask this so much earlier in the episode, and I don't want to keep you, but I do want to know what kind of comedians you would have been listening to at the time. Who was funny to you?
Well, I liked. Do you remember Spike Jones and the City Slickers?
Of course.
I like Spike Jones. I liked. I don't know if I really got any other comedy albums except that may have been it.
Yeah.
Well, I like Bob and Ray.
Mm-hmm.
And we try not to emulate anybody.
Sure.
So, that's my two favorites, Dawson and Harrell.
There you go.
There you are. That's my two favorite comedians.
Well, hey, you know what? You listen to more of their comedy than you ever listen to anybody else's, especially if you're recording it at the time. I mean, come on.
For sure. Yeah.
Come on. Oh my goodness. So I just want to. I have a couple questions for you off the air, but I do want to quickly. I really want to thank you for sitting down and talking to me. This has been a lot of fun.
I enjoy talking to you. Thank you for talking to me.
Of course, I'm going to recommend that my listeners go out and check this out. Both of these albums.
Okay, thank you.
They're fun. Like I said, you can find them on eBay. I'm going to guess if you send a self-addressed stamped envelope or something to that P.O. box, it's not going to get anywhere anymore. But I'm assuming you guys are sold out. That's my assumption.
Yeah.
But I want to recommend people pick these albums up. They're fun to listen to.
I'll keep your name here to remember you by. Jason Clam, right?
Yes, sir.
Am I pronouncing that correctly?
It's Clom, but everybody says, you know what?
Clom.
Can I tell you? Most of the Cloms in the United States actually say Clam. My family is the outlier. So most people do say Clam.
Well, I'm going to write down here Clom in case I...
Well, I appreciate it. Not everybody takes the time to write it down. Mr. Dawson, I thank you, and I do thank Lem, and I thank I thank your old dog. I thank your old dog
I'll
because
thank them all for you.
Thank you guys for listening, and as always, have a good thing.
Immediately. That's enough of that! Turn off that! What else would you like to hear, Prom?
Well, I'd kind of like to hear Ben
How about the
Franklin.
famous chariot race in the arena when Ben-Hur beat the mean old Roman charioteer Messalina?
I don't quite understand
All
what
right,
that
we
Franklin's got to
we
do
switch
with
it on. Wait a minute, I gotta turn on knob here somewhere. There. There. Just a minute, old Ben-Hur, be here. Machine. My hands are getting tired. There!
He and Lawrence had been doing those skits since they were probably in their early teens.
Uh-huh.
And it was just something that they enjoyed, and they, I guess, dreamed of becoming great comedians. They both have a real sense of the absurd.
They certainly do. That's one of the things I enjoy the most. That and the voices that they like to do. I was curious because in talking with Lawrence about it, he talked about coming down to Virginia whenever he had the time, and whenever he came down to visit, they would get together and record. It sounds like almost every time they got together. Is that right?
It did. As they got older, they didn't do it quite so much, but for years they did it. We lived in Arlington, Virginia for a long time, and then Lawrence lived in New York City, so for many years. And so whenever Lawrence visited, we came down to his parents' home or we came to Lynchburg, then he went to Lawrence's family home.
Oh, okay. And so because I know that when I spoke to Lawrence, he said that in terms of, actually taking these things that they'd done together for fun and as friends, that the person who was responsible for making sure these became albums was your husband, Lem. So what do you remember him putting these together and what he felt like his purpose was in doing it?
Oh, no. It was just something that he wanted to do, and it was. I don't know. I don't know exactly how to say this, but that was, as far as I was concerned, really a part of his life that I wasn't really a part of. I was. That doesn't sound exactly right, but he and Lawrence had been doing that for umpteen million years, it seemed. And it wasn't something that I chose to get involved in.
Sure.
And they were perfectly happy doing their thing, and they didn't need a third party.
Right. So what did let's skip back a bit. So what Lawrence said is that Lem worked at the Pentagon programming computers. Is that right?
That he did what?
That he worked at the Pentagon programming computers.
He worked at the Pentagon as a research analyst, and then he worked as a computer programmer.
Wow. That's
I think that Lem knew all of the mechanics and that kind of thing, and Lawrence didn't. So that Lem took care of all of the business mechanical side of it.
Okay. Did they do anything like when they released the first one? Did they do like a release party or anything? Did they invite people over? No.
No.
Did they have anybody come over and listen to the album, or is it just a thing that they just that he was doing privately?
It was just the thing they did. They cut the album and they advertised in various magazines, I believe, and Lem would mail them out when somebody requested one, and that was the extent of it.
Yeah. Do you know how many he originally had made?
How many what?
How many albums he had cut?
No.
Oh,
no,
okay.
I don't.
Okay. It was just kind of a thing that they were, I mean, the typical, what's interesting is like, this is a thing that happened has been happening ever since albums have existed, is, people do what's called a vanity press, and you put together, with your own money, you dig into your own pockets, put together something that means something to you. And then,
right.
You got to give it out to people when they want it, because that's the easiest way. And it's something that's continued once with the internet. I mean, that made it easier for me. My first comedy album was released much the same way, and it didn't cost me any money up front, which was the bonus for me. But I'm just curious. I don't know if it was a big investment for him or not, but it seems like it must have been worth it. It sounds because hearing from you that he wanted, he might have had dreams of being a comedian. That's kind of great to hear.
Well, I think that both he and Lawrence would have liked to. They loved all of the big name comedians. They loved the Stooges, all of those comedians. They watched those programs over and over. Movies. They were old movies, and I think what it did is it was a release. It was a tension releaser for both of them, particularly for my husband. That it was doing these things took him out of. Took him into I don't know. I guess call it a safe place that. He could say and do pretty much whatever he wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that kind of thing is important to find, and I love so much that he turned it into something that meant just enough that he would make 2 albums with his friend. Uh, but I was also obviously equally fascinated to find out that there are tapes sitting there from years and years of getting together.
Well, Lawrence has quite a few. When Lim died, I took all the tapes that they had met, or that I had. I guess it was all that they'd ever made, probably, and took them to Lawrence.
There's also a book, and I mentioned this to Lawrence, it's called Enjoy the Experience, and this book is a very thick coffee table book about vanity pressings, and both these two show up in a couple small thumbnails, but they do show up in there. There were not a lot of comedy vanity pressings, not nearly as much as bad music. There was a lot of, there are very few like people who had the guts to put out their own comedy albums, which I kind of respect.
Well, Lim also just when he knew he didn't have long to live,
Mm-hmm.
he wrote poetry, and he has a book of poetry which I gave out at a memorial service for him.
Oh, wow.
But that was, I felt a suitable memorial for him.
That's wonderful.
Poetry.
Yeah, I mean, quite the artist. I mean, what was his artistic history? Because everything you're describing, obviously some very technical work, but it's not unusual for somebody who does that kind of technical work to have an artistic side.
Well, Lim was very intelligent, and he was very gifted in a lot of areas, but he didn't develop a lot of his talents. He could paint. He could. He wrote poetry. He wrote a novel or two.
Wow.
Unpublished. He could do anything that he set his mind to do.
Yeah.
But many of his talents, he didn't, for some reason, did not develop them as they could have been developed.
Yeah. Do you know?
I guess he was a dabbler in a lot of things.
Well, I got to tell you, Lem and I would have gotten along for that very reason. I've written a couple books, done a few comedy albums myself. I've dabbled in poetry, but I don't do any of those. I do them professionally, but I don't do them for a living. So I can relate to that. I can relate to trying a lot of things. Do you think it was? It doesn't sound to me, but maybe this is my perspective on myself. He doesn't sound unfocused to me, but it sounds like he did want to try a lot of different stuff just for the sake of it.
Yeah, well, I think he was maybe easily discouraged.
Okay.
Lawrence was a professional artist.
Right.
I don't think that Lim, he never said this to me, okay? So I'm only guessing.
Sure.
That maybe he didn't want to compete with, he didn't like competition, in a way.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't like competing with friends or whatever. But I could be wrong. That it was so he had as I said, talents that he did not develop.
Right. Well, you know what? again, everything you're saying. I'm a person who likes doing art and does not enjoy any competition to enter into it. So, if that is the case, I obviously respect that choice. But I also respect even more that while he didn't, if that's the case, if he didn't enjoy competition, he still put his all into putting out these 2 albums that people could hear. And man, I don't know. I respect that very much. And it's great that he had somebody so supportive. That I'm curious now. Do you have any artistic? Do you have an artistic side yourself?
I was a high school English teacher, and I suppose if I had to say that I had some talent, it would be that writing.
Mm-hmm.
I have been in the last few years writing memoirs, and I'm leading a group at my church in writing memoirs, so that we get together and we write whatever about our lives or our thoughts or whatever, and then we read these to the group. And gradually, if you're serious about it, some people who come to the group say they don't want to write; they just want to listen to the rest of us.
I would be there for that very reason. I would be fascinated. I've never heard of anybody doing a group like this. That's wonderful. I think it's a valuable skill. It teaches you to appreciate what you've done, not necessarily even accomplished, but it teaches you to appreciate your life in a new way.
Well, the thing about it is that if you write regularly, you get better at it. If you read a lot, you're going to write better. So, anyway, I would, at least a few people enjoy my reminiscing. I don't know whether it's because of how I write or what I'm writing about.
That's always the thing, isn't it? You're never sure what's the thing that's connecting people. Is it the style? Is it the content? Hopefully, it's both. Obviously.
I think many people are afraid to expose themselves. I certainly have not cared to expose myself. Because when you write, you expose yourself.
Yeah.
Whether you intend to or not. If you're writing your memoirs, you've got to expose yourself, or it's not going to be true. So you take a risk.
Absolutely. That's the hardest thing to learn. But I don't know. I really love that. I love that you're doing that, because that's great in general. But it's also probably pretty therapeutic for the people who are doing it. I bet it's helpful.
I think what it does with the group is that it brings people who might not otherwise be part of your group into a group, and there's a bonding that occurs in that writing and sharing of the memories or whatever, and so that you know the person in a very different way.
Yeah.
From just sitting in church, say, and that woman or that man is over there in that pew, and you're in your pew, and you say good morning and so forth, and that's about the extent of it. But you don't really know that person at all.
Right. It's nice to extend it to this new level where you get to know people, and you have to have, the only way you get to know them is kind of having the willingness to let them know a little bit of who you are. And, that's a little bit of what this entire podcast is about. And I don't get to dig into it that often, is, what were the lives of the people like who actually made the albums? And it's harder when, there's less written about them. I mean, I've spent the last few weeks trying to do online newspaper searches to find more about both of them, about Lem and Lawrence. And, haven't found a whole lot, but I found some pretty interesting bits and pieces. I did find one of those advertisements you talked about. I found one from the Village Voice.
Well, Lim was a very private person.
Mm-hmm.
He was an extremely private person.
Mm-hmm.
I used to tell him that he was a recluse, and he said no, he wasn't a recluse. He just, he had friends. He didn't cut himself off from everybody.
Right.
But he didn't like crowds, and he didn't like, large groups of people.
I can respect that. Man, I gotta tell you, yeah, I don't know. Looking at everything, they put so much effort even into just this ad. The advertisement I'm looking at is all clearly like hand drawn and hand lettered by Lawrence. It's only too bad he didn't keep a whole lot of his art, because I would love to see more of Lawrence's art just as much as I would love to, hear or see anything Lem ever did. Boy, I got to tell you, no pressure, but if there was ever a chance to read his novels, I would, boy, oh boy, I got to tell you, I would love to read what he wrote. Again, no pressure. I'm not gonna hold you to anything. The second you said that, my
right.
brain lit up, I got to say.
Well, it was not published, and it was
right.
not published. So, what it's here somewhere in typewritten form.
Right.
But.
Well, I'll just offer this: if you ever want that digitized, I have the capability of digitizing that and sending it back to you as well. But again, I'm not going to put any pressure. There's no pressure intended. It's just something that I love the idea that he did that. And again, everything you're saying is reminding me of myself. So you're going to be fascinated with somebody who reminds you of yourself. I wonder if that happens in your memoir meetings. Do people end up finding, I had an experience like, they must, right? There must be people having similar experiences, and that brings them closer together.
Well, somehow I had the feeling that you and I'm sorry that Lim is not here to talk with you. I think you would have a lot in common.
I can tell we'd get along.
So that's it's good to know that there are other people out there like yourself, right?
It is, and
yeah.
I'll tell you this: when Lawrence, because I didn't know, I learned most of the story from Lawrence, so. All I knew is look at these crazy looking albums, listen to these crazy albums, because they're just fun, but they're just all over the place, and I that's something I enjoy. I like the energy of them. So I didn't know anything, and then I spoke to Lawrence, and as he's telling me about his friendship with Lem, I almost teared up, because it's reminding me of my friendship with my best friend, and
right.
and it was just like, oh, you know what, we're not the only two people who do this. Neither my friend or I are famous. We don't know if we ever will be famous, but we also don't do it for that. We do it because, we record together every week. He lives in Boise. I live in Los Angeles. We record together every week just so we can stay friends, just so we stay in touch. And, I don't know. That's obviously intrigued me and has kept me a little obsessed with their story,
Lawrence called me when you called him, and he was thrilled to death. He said, "We've got one fan." He said, "I wish Lim were here to know that we have one fan." I said, "Where on earth could you have gotten the record? I mean, my God, that was 100 years ago."
That's the thing too. So I'm wondering if somebody in Los Angeles saw that ad and bought it, because I don't know how far out their ads went either. But I'm curious, like who was buying the albums, and obviously it's nothing you wouldn't know that, and I don't know if he kept records of it. But it's you always wonder, because he did it just by mail order. Not a lot of people were doing that.
I don't. It didn't last very long. He
Sure.
didn't, he didn't get a real big response.
Right.
I don't know how many records he sent out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
And
I don't know how many he had left.
Right.
And what he did with them.
Mm-hmm.
I suspect he destroyed them.
Okay.
I have one of each,
Yeah.
but I don't, we've moved from Arlington to Stanton to Bedford. And in the process of moving, all kinds of things get broken or thrown away or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm fortunate. When you say some of the ways you're describing him, I'm fortunate that I got to come up in a time where it didn't cost me anything to make my own comedy albums, and therefore it was a little easier for me. Well, not always, but it was a little easier for me to deal if I didn't know if people were buying my stuff, because it would get bought behind the scenes, and if anybody did, I might get a residual here or there. It's easier to deal with it when you don't have a bunch of albums sitting in your garage. Because it can be frustrating when people don't buy your stuff, but it's also, I don't know, it is easier for me now to be satisfied with, hey, I put out something I enjoy, and that's enough. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but it is. I think I'm fortunate in that I get to do that. I get to just say, hey, it's done, and I'm done.
Well, I think it's wonderful, wonderful that someone can have a friend and have that as a lifelong friend. And I think that's very rare. Most of us, we don't have many friends in life. We have a lot of acquaintances.
Yeah.
But we don't have a lot of real friends, I think. So friends are very, very important.
I agree. And it was clear what Lem meant to Lawrence talking to him. And it was, that was one of the things. It just made me you kind of sit and you reassess. And it's like, this is the stuff that's important. And it's, I don't know, to me, I think the world is lucky that people can have a friendship and they put it down on 2 records. Like that's all you're hearing on these 2 records. You're not necessarily hearing 2 professional comedians. You're hearing 2 people who like to be funny together and make each other laugh. And you have to respect that, and you have to enjoy that, because it's so goofy, and that reminds me of me and my best friend getting together, and just being silly. And I don't know, I respect that, and I love it. It's
been a very, very nice talking to you.
Absolutely, Belle. Thank you so much for doing this and sitting down with me. I would love to stay in contact with you because not only are you fun to talk to, but I don't know. This is just, it's a story that
would be fine,
that I'm fascinated with, and I don't know. It's just very sweet of you to talk to me.
Well, if you send me your address, I'll send you one of Lem's poetry books.
That would be lovely. I will absolutely do that. I'll write you a letter this week.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Well, that was awesome. Boy, oh boy, this kind of stuff is just too much fun. I mean, how do you not like that lady? She's the nicest lady on the planet. Sweet lady. And I'm gonna get to read his poetry. These things are fun. I don't know. It's a good show. I like doing it. I'm being completely just words. Bye. Well, there we are. Those 2 interviews are 2 of my favorites that I've done in a long time. I'm especially grateful that they're still around, that I got to speak with these folks, because people are not hunting down people who created vanity press stuff, because often there's too much, people's interest in these and appreciation of these is soaked so much in irony. I didn't want to do that. I was interested in these. I'm mostly interested in the guys, and as you can see, there's a moment there where Lawrence brings up the passing of his best friend, and we commiserate a little bit. I can't relate in the same way. He and Lem had each other for a very long time as best friends, and those feelings are not going to go away. But it's difficult, and having lost or realize I lost a friend earlier this year, it hit me pretty hard. But the greatest part of it is, and again, I don't know at what point in the interview it happens, but there's a point there where he talks about They would get together every time he visited Virginia and record for 8 hours at a time. I mean, first of all, that's amazing to me. And that's just a beautiful example of friendship and people who just want to do stuff together so much. And they have to. They have to. I wish so much that Lem was still with us so that I could get from his mouth what this stuff meant to him. That said, I still think we got a pretty good idea from between both Lawrence and Belle. And which, by the way, Lawrence was with the assistance of his brother Wayne, who had a few more bits of information at the ready for us. And that actually helped me a little. But anyway, my best friend Dan and I get together. Whenever we get together, we do comedy for whatever reason. And listening to that, just hearing that for the first time, I don't know, it kind of makes you appreciate what you do have. And the fact that, you know, it's not something everybody still does. It's something you kind of do when you're a kid. But Dan and I will probably never stop. And I'm literally getting ready right now. This will have happened weeks later by the time you're hearing this. But I'm getting ready right now to go to Boise and visit Dan. I've actually never been to Boise, which is weird. Dan's been to L.A. because he used to live here, but he's also visited me a few times. But this is my first time going to Boise, and like I went out of my way to buy a little portable, tiny portable recorder, which is something Dan and I bring on our trips together all the time. Used to. We did these trips once a year for a few times in our 20s, and this is our first trip, really, where we're going to have some time to just chill out together and record. Not necessarily record comedy, but for those times. But I have the recorder ready if we want to do comedy because it's pretty high quality. Sounds nice, but it is the kind of thing Dan and I do. Not that we're required to make content when we get together, but we like to. We like to do comedy together. And I don't know. It was just nice to hear that that relationship and how much it paralleled us. I mean, Dan and I released our first album, to zero acclaim, except for a minor popularity on mp3.com.au. So we had some Australian fans at some point. So you just did it out of the love of it, and that's what we still do. And I don't know, it's just nice to speak to somebody else who's in a group that had a similar trajectory in that way. And had they had the internet, like I say, it could have done something different for them, or not. Don't know, but I am fascinated with their story. And then the other postscript, the real postscript to this, which was at one point Lawrence brings up that he worked for Stars and Stripes. He edited, and I did a little bit of research and found out the specific wing of Stars and Stripes. I'm still doing some research on that. But what I did, so I bought a subscription to the Stars and Stripes archive online and just did as many searches as I could, every different option. If you do too generic of a search, you're gonna get too many results. But one of the first results I found when I did just general search for Dawson cartoonist was an article featuring one of his cartoons, which I will post on the blog. Which is incredibly fun. And the article about his cartoons is an article about all kinds of different GI cartoons. And the article was written by a private Sheldon Silverstein. I just think it's interesting. And Lawrence had a fascinating story. So did Lem. Belle was kind enough to send me Lem's poetry, a book of poetry that was written and then compiled when he passed away. And it's really beautiful. There's some wonderful things in there. And I just want to say thank you to Belle for sending that out to me. It's very kind. I don't know. It's nice. I feel like I've definitely made some friends, which you can't always necessarily say for a podcast. So it was refreshing. It was a very good time. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to it as much as I enjoyed making it. And who knows, if there's any way to find out about the old material, I'm going to help them do a little bit of digging. And if there's some old stuff sitting around, could be fun to listen to on a podcast or what have you. Well, again, thank you guys for listening. And speaking of, places where you can get re-released comedy, go to celerysoundrecords.com. It is, my other big passion. Oh no, what just happened? Why did the sound change? Sorry, it's Jason from later, more later than the thing you just heard, which was recorded later than the original interviews. Long story short, before I ended this episode, I wanted to add a little bit of something, and that's the article I mentioned earlier. This is going to be as read by friend of the show, Dan Pasternak, and it's a nice tease for next week's episode, another Family Albums episode, so look forward to that.
January 29th, 1955. FEC Funny Men by PFC Sheldon Silverstein, Pacific Stars and Stripes staff. Unlike most cartoonists, Corporal Lawrence Dawson always appears to be happy. Working with a clean line style, the easygoing Virginian serves as editor and cartoonist of the 8th Cavalry Regiment Trooper. Before entering the Army in 1953, Larry studied at the Cartoonists and Illustrators School in New York and plans to return there after his discharge. Then I'll go to work, he drawls. I hope as a cartoonist, but I will go to work.
Well, there we are. Thank you guys for listening, and as always, and for a second time, have a good thing. Comedy on Vinyl is a production of StolenDress Entertainment. It is produced by Mike Worden and is hosted and edited by Jason Klom. Our theme song was composed and performed by Richard Levinson. You can email us at podcast@comedyonvinyl.com. You can also send snail mail to StolenDress Entertainment, P.O. Box 805, Burbank, California, 91503. Subscribe to Comedy on Vinyl on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and anywhere else you can find podcasts. Give us a 5-star rating and write us a review. It helps. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Comedy on Vinyl, or find everything in one place at comedyonvinyl.com. A major portion of Comedy on Vinyl has been underwritten by Stand Up Records. Please visit standuprecords.com for all your comedy needs, and tune in to the new Stand Up Records channel available on the Roku, where you can also find select episodes of this podcast. Visit StolenDress.com to listen to our other podcasts, watch videos, and imbibe freely of our multimedia content going back 15 plus years.